Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Mob Psycho 100, Season 1, Episode 2. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we have more of Regan's BS as he's convincing this guy that he's got this curse on his shoulder from clicking on porn sites. And gives him he's like, oh, let me massage this. And apparently the guy looked like he was going through ecstasy. Like, oh my God, this was so amazing. Regan's special move is this massage thing. And apparently it's really, really good. So it's sad that he doesn't take some of these qualities and put it towards something that isn't complete and utter BS and actually do something good with it. But nevertheless, we still don't know why Regan's in the con artist business of being a psychic and exorcist and stuff like that, but maybe we will find out eventually. Either way, Mob gets very this episode is kind of Mob being very existential because he's kind of wondering what he's going to kind of do with his life, because the whole opening was about adolescence, the elements of life of just hanging out with your friends or playing sports or doing this or doing that, falling in love. All of these elements are just part of the amalgamation that is adolescence. And it's what is he going to do with himself? Because he's wondering should I really be taking my time to work a part-time job? Should I kind of be doing other stuff with my youth? Which Regan kind of doesn't want him to okay, he's if you find something else, sure, but kind of keep working with me. Which I love that his biggest concern is a kid going to start asking for more money? I'm surprised last episode the person that didn't immediately come to my mind being the cheapskate that he is very much it's a Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob relationship, really. But also he's oh, but did he find out that I'm a fake? But it's no, it's just Mob being concerned about his own youth and what he's going to do with him. So if it's should I really be spending so much time working a part-time job when I should be just kind of doing something with my youth, enjoying it? I just don't know how exactly. Which comes at the perfect timing, because it turns out the Telepathy Club just lost its 5th member, and they need 5 members to be able to keep going as a club. And I love how the moment that went down, literally seconds later, the someone from the student council shows up and is yo, I'm abolishing this. And it's wow. I guess the home dude put in the paperwork before he came to the club room to let them know, I guess. Or did he just put in the paperwork? To be fair, it seems like this student, because I don't think he was the student. Wait, was he the student council president, or is he just from the student council? I don't remember. But it seemed like he just wanted to shut this club down, because as he kind of makes it clear later on, he believes it's all BS. Because it's no, they just use this club to chillax and just hang out and chill. That's all the purpose of this club. It's not anything important, even though they're right, the bonds of friendship and stuff like that. We even find out why it was started. It's because Tomei wants to use this club because she's the only one, or at least from what we can tell, seems to be the only one really into telepathy and wants to be a club that they can discover telepathic abilities. It's interesting because I'd made this point last episode referencing Princess Resurrection. I feel like I remember the main character, and the main character's male protagonist's name is Hiro. I believe, didn't he has a friend who's into the weird supernatural and alien stuff, which that's kind of a funny thing once you get to the end of that series and you find out there's more to his circumstances. But either way, wasn't there an actual club in that series that was kind of investigating stuff too, that was connected to all this, but it was unrelated to the princess and her circumstance? I don't remember. I feel like I vaguely remember that. When it's right, you have someone with those powers at the school, but he didn't immediately come to mind when they needed to find a 5th member. They were just right, we got to grab up whoever they can. But most people want to avoid the club because they're oh, it's creepy. That's the number one excuse. There were other excuses, but it's kind of oh, will I be able to hang out with girls? Will I be able to do this and that? But it was mainly, it's creepy. I love that depiction of when they're running down the hall trying to find club members, and especially the last one when they kind of morphed into monsters. I was just I love the aesthetic of this show. It's just so weird. And Tomei kind of has a breakdown, and then one of the members is oh right, the going home club, and it's well, there's the number one going home clubber, and that's Mob. That's Shigeo. And I love the whole thing of right, he has no friends, he has no girlfriend. The fact that he's kind of a bum, and I'll even Mob's yeah, what he said's pretty much true. So they're willing to be yeah, will you sign up for this? He's yeah, but I can't because I have my job. but then it's like, I got to go to an exorcism, and he calls up Regan. It's like, yeah, is it okay if I be a little late? But then Regan's unwilling to compromise. I mean, it's understandable. This is your business, and your reputation means everything, which is so ironic considering the fact that it's all horse shit, and it's all kind of built around Mob in the first place being the only one with legitimate powers. But the fact of the matter is that I love that Tomei and Regan both kind of trying to make the other person seem shittier, even though they're both doing the exact same thing. They both want him for different reasons. It's like Tomei's calling out Regan, being like, oh, like, you're a fake and you only need him, and he's the one that tells Mob, like, don't be around these people. Like, this ain't bonds and friendship. These are people just too lazy and just want like a club to be able to hang out with. They don't want to sacrifice their room or their budget that they'd get, because, you know, clubs do get budget. So it's like, yeah, they just want to laze about, which one of the members admitted he was about that, but he believes Tomei like really does believe in, you know, them being able to tap into like some telekinetic abilities and stuff. And I love when Tomei like starts breaking down into tears, and I love Regan being like, "Don't believe it, it's crocodile tears." And then you do close up on her face, and it's her just rubbing her head like she's wiping away her tears, but like her hands are above her like eyebrows and stuff. It's just like, okay, so he is right. It's two con artists trying to manipulate Mob, and it's like, right. Because it's like, do you actually want to do this? And Mom's like, not really. And so Regan's like, okay, then come on down and like come to work. It's the thing of, this is Mob's job by choice, but, you know, we learn a little bit of like, right, he wanted to kind of understand this stuff better, so he just happened to come to Regan's, and then Regan gave him a job. So I guess Regan saw his golden cow, or his golden egg chicken with this whole situation. I'm mixing up all my metaphors in that regard, sorry. But he saw a golden opportunity is what I should have said, and immediately jumped on it by hiring Mob. But like I said, it is just kind of jacked up that it's just kind of like, you're both kind of, I mean, I feel bad for Tomei and them, because it's like, right, this club means something to you, and it's like, you know, a Mob, it's okay with joining, because he's just like, right, seeing a girl cry, it's kind of sad, and I want to help out, but it's like, do I really want to even be here? Not really. But it's like, he does really like his job, or at least wants to be there. So I guess in his mind, it's like, at least his job with Regan, despite it being BS, because once again, I don't believe he knows it's BS, not unless he really does, but it's most likely going to be a thing of he doesn't. But he chose that, whereas the whole situation, even then he didn't really choose it, he kind of stumbled into it. That wasn't his purpose to go in there to get a job, and he just got it. And it was probably a thing of Regan refused to take no for an answer, because he seems like that type of person in that regards of like, oh, I need you, I want you, and you're going to benefit me, and you can't say no. Probably manipulated him to be like, oh, let me help you figure this out by being like, yeah, I can take you under my wing and help you really understand everything. Once again, both sides are just trying to play on his heartstrings and manipulate him. It's interesting too, because the dude that suggested and thought about Mob in the first place for the Telepathy Club, that dude says like, oh yeah, back in elementary school he used to lift stuff up. So it's kind of like, I guess, not unless he's the only dude that went to the same school as Mob, but like, the fact is, it's not a bigger thing, that it's kind of like not even an open secret. I guess it's just something Mob doesn't like advertise. Maybe people do know, they just know he's creepy or weird or whatever, so they stay away from him, just like they're staying away from the Telepathy Club. Like, maybe that's all there is to it. It's like, it's kind of not even a secret, it's just an open thing everyone knows, but no one really talks about it, because it's like, it's weird and it's creepy, and as long as he's not doing it around us, we're fine. I don't know, it's kind of interesting, once again, just kind of getting dropped into this character's life with the context of what he can do. And it, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's closed secret. Like, the fact is, like I said, Home Dude didn't even think about Mob, even though it's like, right, here's someone at your school who actually has ESP powers. But then it's like, well, maybe it's because he is the type of dude that just fades in the background, doesn't stand out. You kind of forget that he exists and he's there. He probably didn't even remember that Mob went to this school until he was like, all right, that kid who has telepathy and stuff, like, actually does go to this school. Mob wanted to take time to think about it while they worked on their job, which involves them wearing schoolgirl uniforms as they're trying to infiltrate a school. And I love that Regan gets caught by the security because they're like, oh, you're a pervert, but they let Mob through, which Mob was so excited. He's like, oh, thank God we got caught. Now we don't have to go through this whole sham. But Regan got caught because of the hairy legs, I guess, gave him away. But Mob was able to go through. Then he goes to the roof looking for the clients, gets chastised by some thugs at the school, and the girls there are kind of making fun of him who are actual clients. What was it? Chiharu and Mari were the actual clients, and they're like, "Oh, like, are you actually reliable?" Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, you're so you're so reliable. I can't believe you saw like the way you shake and trembled in front of some older girls like bullying or whatever. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and then one was like, "No, she was being sarcastic. She wasn't actually complimenting you." But we end up ultimately finding out what this is about, a ghost that's kind of people been seeing bras and stuff moving. So it's like, oh, we got a pervert ghost. And it turns out that is the case, which I wasn't expecting the storyline to be so like the reveal of, oh, there was something more to it when Mob defeated the ghost. I thought it was interesting because he used a term like, oh, I got to deal with this kid before I got to get out of here before he erases me. So that probably goes back to the conversation I had last episode. There's some ghosts that are able to be able to move on, and like I said, I think once you're no longer controlled by malice or driven by the things that keep you here, if you're willing to finally move on and find peace and able to move on, that's one thing. Like the biker gang dude last episode, whereas this guy is like, no, he didn't want to give up this spot. And Mob like sliced and raced one of his arms and then like sliced and diced him, like, which was spectacular. But it turns out the guy was like, yeah, I was a loser in life. And he's like, yeah, I kind of found like a place, like I was able to finally live for the first time in my afterlife. But he's like, I can sense it in you. You're just like me, you know? And it made Mob start questioning, once again, very, very existential, of like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, this is someone who didn't start living until their afterlife. That's what they didn't want to leave. That's why they were here. And it's like, what does Mob want to do? Is he just going to let his life pass him by? And something funny enough, it ties into like my outros to every recording I do. It's like, live life to the fullest. And it's like, is he living his life to the fullest? So he starts really questioning it, and ultimately he decides he's going to join the Telepathy Club until we meet the other club that's trying to take their place, and that's the Body Improvement Club. And the student council dude is asking Mob, like, do you really want to join? Like, do you know anyone from it? He's like, well, I have an associate here. What are your hobbies, this and that? And Mob's like, I actually don't know. You know? It's like there's so much he's just kind of going, like, floating on by when it comes to life. He's just letting other people take the reins, and he's just kind of autopiloting his way through life, which very existential, because like a lot of people do. I definitely have lived a lot of my life on autopilot, just kind of going with the motions of things, you know, making a lot, let a lot of life kind of just wash over me and happen rather than living. And I think that's where Mob has made his mistake. And he talks about the thing he wants, and that's like to confess to the girl that he loves and wants to hold her hands. They knew each other in elementary school, and he showed off his powers to her, but, you know, eventually she got bored of it. Then, like, he noticed, like, oh my God, there was like a race, and she was impressed by the guy that got first place. So instead of joining the Telepathy Club, he decides he's going to join the Body Improvement Club, because he thinks it's going to help him in the long run get with the love of his life and, you know, be able to confess. So he's like, if I can be in better shape and everything, then she'll be impressed by me. Which is like, for one, it's sad that like you want to do that, but it's like, well, maybe it's not so sad. Maybe it will give you the confidence and build up the stamina you need to feel better about yourself and be able to confess, not just for the purposes of like, oh, I want to seem cool in front of her, you know. It should come from self-improvement. Should be about, oh, you want to do it for yourself. You need to do it for yourself, because if you're doing it for someone else, that's always going to blow up in your face. So, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that twist. I felt so bad for the Telepathy Club. That was a slap in the face to every single one of them in that regard. So I'm interested to see what that means going forward, because that means like the Telepathy Club is gone, right? especially not unless they end up finding another member, which they put all their hopes in the mob, so that doesn't seem likely. So they're going to lose, not unless they end up joining the Body Improvement Club and end up trying to turn it into Telepathy Club. Or I don't know, maybe they're going to try and do everything they can to, maybe that's going to be their arc, constantly trying to get to Telepathy Club back. I'm so curious to see where that storyline goes. Like I said, that was kind of a nice, like, last minute twist, making it be like, nope, this is actually the club I'm joining. Like, the whole purpose of this episode was about joining this particular, well, once again, he never really wanted to join that club. He actually finally made a decision and decided the club he wanted to join. So it's kind of like, oh, you feel bad for the Telepathy Club, but Mob made a decision at the end of the day, and that's good. Rather than just like letting other people decide for him, he decided for himself. So I think that in itself is an improvement. So just some very, very interesting developments. I'm curious to see where it all ends up taking us as we kind of go further down this path in the next episode, just from what we saw in the preview. And we also have, well, we know that he was caught and outed as a pervert, but the depiction only shows him drawn, like in the newspaper or even on the TV, they only show him like drawn as like the him in disguise, so no one knows that it was Reagan. But it's like, yeah, he's known as this pervert, and it's become a whole news story about this pervert trying to sneak into an all-girls school. So we'll see if there's going to be any future threads of that, or it's probably just going to be like this was a one episode bit, but you never know. You might see little winks and references to it in the future. Might even be callbacks in the regards of there might be another situation where Regan has to cross-dress again, and that ends up leading to him being found out in his regard. So we'll see. We'll ultimately have to wait to see where, like I said, all of this ends up taking us. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.